What is up, guys? This is the second time around. My name is Stephanie Kerr, and I'm an author based in the city of Toronto. Excited to tell you about my second book, which will be launched on Monday, December 4th. So I have, hey Lamar, I just have a couple announcements before I go into what the book is actually about. Kizzy, welcome back. It's so funny. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and somehow a call came through. So this is, like I said, the second time around, and in this live I just want to talk a little bit about the book because a lot of you have your tickets already. I so love and appreciate you for the support, but you don't really know what the book is about. So I have a book that's out already. It's called Trust Moving Forward When You Don't Have All the Answers. It is a collection of short stories that follows the journey that I personally went through with God. I detail this journey by sharing my thoughts on each phase of the journey. There's 6. And then I introduce a character and tell a short story. Through the life of this woman, we see how evolution could look. We see how growing could look. We see how trusting can look. So that is the format of the first book. And the second book actually follows the same format. But I've grown. I wrote that in 2020. It's now 2023. And I'm a different person. I'm a different woman. I'm stronger in my faith. There's just so many things that have evolved since that time. So book number 2, although it follows the same format, it is so much richer, I believe. It has so much more depth to it. And one thing that I'm appreciating and loving about just being a writer is that as I grow, my work also grows. The power of my work grows. It is my desire that the impact will also grow as I grow. So I'm excited for you guys to read this second book. Like I said, I have 2 announcements. The first, if you got your ticket on Eventbrite for the launch on Monday, check your inbox because details for the event went out earlier today as well as yesterday, but a lot of people didn't get it, so they were resent today. So check your inbox, check your junk, just in case it went there. And then announcement number 2, what was it? One sec. I think that may have been it. Maybe that was it. Oh, announcement number 2, there's about 5 tickets left. I didn't write it down. That's why I didn't remember. There's about 5 tickets left. If you want to join us, you're in Toronto, grab your ticket because after those 5 tickets are gone, I'm not promising that any other seats will be available. I was at the venue yesterday. I did a little tour for you guys. And after I had set everything up in the way that it will be set up on Monday, I said to myself, although they said the capacity is a certain amount, I actually want to have less people in here. I want it to be a little bit more intimate. I don't want hundreds and thousands of people to be there. So once those 5 tickets are gone on Eventbrite, then that's probably just going to be the capacity for the event, which, is okay because the book will still be available for purchase after that date. So those are the 2 announcements, but let's get into the book. Let's get into talking about release, why holding on is holding you back. So this is a topic that God placed on my heart to write about. I started writing and I didn't necessarily know everything that would be that would come out as I was writing. I just knew these are the topics that I want to cover. These are some of the experiences that I want to draw from, that I've seen happen in the lives of women around me, or just I've heard about, whatever the case is. But the very first section that I actually wrote about in the book is hope. That's one thing that I want people to walk away with when they read the book. So you read the book, I want you to feel hopeful. And it is my prayer that you will be renewed in hope after having read. So let's talk about hope. The character that we meet in that section, her name is Pamela. Pamela is going through life. Everything is okay, so she thinks, until something happens. And this something that happens completely shifts everything that she had known and forces her to just completely figure things out on the fly. Just everything's changed, everything's different because of this one moment. So it's a crisis. She figures out how to manage, how to get through, and she emerges still with her hope intact. That's one thing that I really appreciate. Hey, Takia. Appreciate about this character, Pamela, in the very first section of the book, Hope. So that is, and one thing I did tonight that I wanted to share with you guys is just a couple lines from each section. There's just 2 that I'm talking about tonight, but a couple lines from each section that really stand out to me. Hey, Brian. Yes, so Pamela's section is the hope section. And I actually wrote down this verse here, Romans 12, verse 12. It says, rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, be constant in prayer. And if I actually think about the person who inspired the Pamela character, that is one thing that is true of her. She's always praying. She maintains her hope. She maintains her joy. She's just always looking to God despite these moments of crises that she has faced along the way. And like I said, Pamela, the character in the very first section, she emerges with hope. And it is my desire, my prayer that people, as they're reading the book, even if you don't see yourself reflected in this particular character, that you're able to take even just notes by how she went through the situation. But let me read a section from Hope, that first part of the book. So when we've hoped and been disappointed, it becomes very tempting to silence every hope, every dream, and every desire going forward. I've done it. Certainly have. I'm just being realistic, we say. But our heart knows the truth. We're not being realistic. We're being controlled by fear. Fear of being disappointed. I didn't write this, but again. Fear of being hurt. Fear of rejection. Fear of pain. So when we've hoped and our hope has been deferred, what do we do? The safest bet is to keep going. Search within for the mustard seed size amount of faith you have left and ask God to multiply its effect. I'm just going to read that last part. So what do? You've hoped for something and it didn't turn out how you thought it would turn out. It perhaps turned out completely opposite to what you were hoping for. The safest bet is to keep going. Search within for the mustard seed size amount of faith you have left and ask God to multiply its effect. I cannot tell you guys how many times this year there have been moments where I was just like, God, I have nothing left to believe in this word. But with this mustard seed size faith that I have left, I'm just asking you to multiply its effect and give me the ability to hope again. And give me the ability to believe again. And give me the ability to just hear your word and receive it and it actually land on a soft heart. Because I haven't been hardened by the crises. I haven't been hardened by what has happened. So that's the hope section of the book. And that's where we start off in the journey. That's where we start off in the book. The next section that we move to is actually the namesake of the book, which is release. And the woman who inspired this section of the book. Oh, I gotta hurry up. Now my phone battery's about to die. That's crazy. The woman who inspired this section of the book, when I think about her, I think of someone who has the audacity to look at a mountain and say, one of us is going down, and it's not me. It's not me. So this particular section, I was just thinking about a verse from the word, Zechariah 4 verse 6. It says, so he said to me, or rather, this is the word of the Lord to Zerubbabel, someone who's going to be building, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord. That has been something that has been coming to me even as I've been preparing to launch this book. God has to keep reminding me, Stephanie, it is not by your might, it is not by your power, it is by my spirit that any mountain becomes a plain. So later on in the passage, I believe the mountain that's before him, it is essentially prophesied that the mountain that's in front of him, it is going to become a plain. With shouts of grace, grace. The grace of God is going to turn this mountain into a plain. So when I think about this character, Lisa, who we encounter in the release section of the book, I think of someone who is determined to look at any mountain that presents itself in front of her and say, again, Mark 11:23, I have the faith to believe that if I ask God to tell, or if I tell you, mountain, to get out of the way, you must get out of the way. That's the type of faith that I have. So that is, that's Lisa. And she's the second character that we encounter. I want to be mindful of my battery. So I'm just going to read the the part of the book that I pulled out to read tonight. And I just want to give a little bit of context. So in this section, as I'm speaking about releasing, I talk about us being a seed, or I talk about our lives having the potential just like a seed has. So you see like a little apple seed, and you don't see the apple tree as you look at the apple seed, but as you are faithful enough to plant it in the soil, then it has the potential to become what it could be, which is an apple tree, which will then produce much more apples. That one seed has the inside of it the potential to produce so many more apples. So that's what we're talking about here in this section as I pulled out this passage. The soil, the hurt, the sand, the offense, and the ground, the pain, that we believe is the place that we have died, because the soil has to cover that seed, but it's not comfortable. Being in the soil, being in the ground, it's dark, sometimes it's wet, it's cold, but that's where the seed has the ability to become what it is ultimately going to become. So that is the place that we sometimes believe that we have died and suffered irreparable damage. But in reality, it's the place that will allow us to grow again if we let it. It is the place that will facilitate us becoming what we always had the potential to be. So there's a comment here for those of you who might watch this on YouTube, and it says, this is from Lamar, it takes time to grow. 100%. And if you pick up a copy of the book, what you'll find is I actually speak about giving ourselves time to grow and giving ourselves time to be planted in that soil so that what is inside of us can come out. That potential can come out. It's not comfortable being in the soil. It's not comfortable being in the sand. It's not comfortable being wet or being cold or being hidden away. But that is the place where our potential has the opportunity to be fortified so that it can come out and it can be seen by the world, and it doesn't immediately topple over. If the shoot comes out first without the root, to be honest, I don't think that could happen, but let's say just a force of nature, the shoot comes up before the root, ultimately that shoot will not last long because there's no root system to support it. So yes, absolutely. So another comment here, it's not even comfortable breaking through the soil. It's not. It's absolutely not comfortable breaking through the soil, but eventually it does pay off. I appreciate those comments. Eventually it does pay off. And those, like I said, were the first two sections, or are the first two sections of the book, which will be, by God's grace, available for purchase on December 4th. I will share all of the information about the actual pre-orders and link to order your books closer to the date. But for right now, just promoting the launch itself. But I want to say goodnight with that. I see my phone battery is telling me, girl, you need to get off live. So thank you so much for having joined me. And I hope to see you guys either at the launch or to hear your feedback about the book when it comes out, to your peace and to your release, guys. Take care.